and this is my world.
Back in 2002, director Paul W.S. Anderson achieved the near impossible, a computer game to movie adaptation that was, whisper it now, actually quite good.
We used you to perfect the virus.
Everything I've ever known is being used against me.
So good, in fact, that fast forward 10 years and Resident Evil Retribution, outing number 5 in the action-packed zombie franchise, is about to hit cinema screens everywhere.
We've taken over New York, Moscow, Tokyo. It's the beginning of the end.
In advance of the movie's release, Alex Zane sat down with Mr. and Mrs. Resident Evil to get the lowdown.
I'm gonna kill you.
Good luck. You'll need it.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. I'm just admiring your awesome outfits.
Do you know-
Socks, the shoes. I don't know if we can get a shot of that.
I can make...
Can you put your...
No,
Yeah?
that's it. That's as far as it goes.
You wouldn't survive long in a Resident Evil movie.
No, I wouldn't. I mean, I always think that when I watch the movies, I'd be dead first. Like, I'd love to survive a zombie apocalypse, but I'm dead meat.
No.
You have survived though. Alice is back for the 5th time. What is she up to? I'm imagining, and I'm just going to throw it out there is some kind of retribution heading Umbrella's way.
There is.
kind of-
As the sign says.
Yeah.
I think it says it all.
Yeah, it's kind of like.
I think we could just end the interview now, right? No. It is Resident Evil, and there will be retribution in it.
What form will that retribution take might be a better question.
It's gonna be awesome form. Awesome form. Beautiful, beautiful choreography, beautiful sets. My gosh. And you know what's the most interesting part for me is yes, the stunts are bigger. Yes, the scope is bigger. It's epic. The shots are fantastic. The sets are phenomenal. But I really think the story is quite unbelievable the way Paul wrote this one. But the amount of twists and turns this plot takes, I mean, you're glued to the screen not just because of like, oh, she just did a backflip. You're glued to the screen because what's gonna happen next? I mean, yes, there's action, but and it's non-stop, but the story is so interesting, it just keeps you riveted.
Don't.
5 movies in now, Resident Evil. If this is the 5th in the series, it's easy to forget it came from a video game. What is it that you've done where you've managed to create a successful video game adaptation while so many have failed?
I'm always shocked when filmmakers who adapt video games, you know, they talk about the movie in interviews and they go, well, you know, I never played the video game. I'm stunned because that's kind of like adapting War and Peace and going, well, I never read the book. Or, you know, you adapt a stage play and I never saw the stage play. You'd show that level of respect for a book or a play, but you wouldn't show it for a video game. And I think that's a problem, because unless you play the game, you don't know what people like about it. You can't just look at pretty pictures from it, because it doesn't give you the game experience. You don't know, is it scary, is it exciting, what makes it scary?
When Paul, Michelle, and I made the first movie, it was just because we were fans of the game. All of us. Like, just really wanted to make a Resident Evil movie. Because nobody had done it, and it was like this cool, rad, underground game that nobody knew about, so we just felt like the coolest kids in the world. But of course, saying that, no one thought it was gonna do anything because no one knew about the game. It wasn't like this big title, blah, blah, blah. And then it just kind of became like the little movie that could, and just kept chugging away, and here we are.
I've been involved in 2 successful adaptations, a long time ago Mortal Kombat and now Resident Evil, and they were both born out of the same experience, which is I loved the video games. I used to play Mortal Kombat in the arcades in London, and back when video game arcades existed. And I spent a month playing the first 3 Resident Evil games. I stayed in my house, I didn't answer the telephone, my mum was really worried, I didn't see any friends, and I emerged after a month with like big beard and crazy staring red eyes going, I have to make a movie out of this.
I know this says Resident Evil, but really, it's Resident Love. I mean, we love the game. We have a real passion for it. Always did. Like I said, the first one, we were there not because we were getting paid. It was a cheap little film that he made look good. We had like 2 corridors that everybody would change stuff to make them look different. And that was it. It wasn't like a studio turning out some schlocky, like, oh, let's take advantage of this big title. It was like people that actually loved the game coming together and going, how do we, as fans, make a great movie for ourselves as fans, in a way, Only the 2 of you.
It'll be enough.
So what made you want to return to it? Did you just sort of miss kicking zombie ass?
Well, that, and I also was incredibly curious to see as to how you'd bring me back after sticking a bullet through my head and watching my brains splatter in the backdrop. So, yeah. And of course, there he goes again with his great imagination. Paul figures this one out. And it makes so much sense. And I'm like, duh, why didn't I think of that? Technology meets, God's creation and then disaster. That sounds like a great franchise idea. So coming back was just great. 40% of the people that I knew who were working on it before are still on board now, 10 years later. So you can tell there's a level of loyalty there, and it's like a family, creative one, that likes to have fun in this kind of horror playhouse.
I mean, you've killed a lot, but there is still more
My
to kill.
dad would call me in the morning and be like, hello, darling. So how many did you kill today? What is body count? Like, Dad.
What's a good day, though? I mean, is there a number you say and he goes, that's disappointing. Sorry for doing the accent. I realized as I did the accent that you're allowed to do the accent and me doing the accent.
Oh, no, it's all good. I usually make the number kind of big so that, just for the effect. Even if I haven't shot anybody that day, I'm like, oh, Dad, I've killed like 25 people and it's not even lunch.
Our little friend is back!
Almost there.
Wait.
I'd call Extinction a kind of road movie. Afterlife was like a siege film. What would you call Retribution?
I would call it a global epic. It's the David Lean of post-apocalyptic zombie movies. David Lean came back and said, you know what I really want to do is make a zombie movie. This would be it. I wanted to make an epic film. I think it's important that a franchise evolves. As soon as you start doing the same thing again, that's when a franchise withers and dies. So I've tried to make the films different. One's a road movie, one's a siege movie, one's a war movie, one's a horror, close-knit horror movie. This, for me, is an epic global movie. It's the first time that evil has gone global. It's got an epic, stylish look to it that has never been achieved in the franchise before.